sharing my screen, entire screen, and here I go. All right, I hope you are able to see my screen, and we are talking about databases today. Okay, so yes, it has multiple support for databases. So the basic one, the built-in databases that are there in Azure is Cosmos DB. Like it's their own database, Cosmos DB. So it has support for Java, Node.js, Python, and .NET. So out of which we are going to see Java and Python wala support, not for Azure Cosmos, but for Java we are going to see Postgres, and for Python as well. When I'll deploy the Python wala application, not immediately, next week probably. This week we covered the Java wala deployment. Next week we'll deploy the Python wala application. I'm not expert in .NET, neither in Node.js. So in that particular domain or that particular technology stack, will not be touching on during the training. All right, so yes, it has support for IoT as well. The Cosmos DB I was talking about. So it is a really nice database. It is best for these things. Okay, like basically IoT only, as far as I remember or I have used for other purposes. I prefer Postgres basically. So again, this particular Azure is having Azure SQL database. So the basic database or the standard database you can see, which we have learned from our school days, college days, not school days, college days, right? So this Azure SQL is there. So exactly similar to our SQL databases that we use to access with MySQL. Hmm? Once I create this database over here in cloud, right, I can access the database in my machine as well. If I put the correct connection string and the username and password. Okay, so that connection steps we are going to see. Like for SQL, we are having MySQL workbench that I installed in my system, through which we can access the cloud Wala database, firing the same exact command which we used to fire in our local machines. That is one. For Postgres, of course, I'm more interested into creating a Postgres database rather than SQL, because the demand in the industry is for open source. Open source means something which is not going to cost you money, number one. Number two, that's something which is managed and developed by community, and which I have a full right to modify according to my need. Okay. So from best open source section, so these are two in their built-in purpose-built Azure database. There are two, Cosmos DB and SQL database. But for open source, they have Postgres database, then they have MySQL. See, the Postgres name is very first when it comes to open source. Okay, open source enterprise app for production environment also we can use this thing. It has really uh, secure and scalable operations, and there are a lot of things that we do. Scalable web app, basically mobile app and web app, it uses basically. Then we have MySQL database, which is again the same one. Okay. Azure SQL database, Azure database for MySQL is like, these are two different databases. Basically, they're not same. So this is the database which built by Azure, which supports SQL or which behaves like SQL. These are Azure. These two databases are built by Azure team, Microsoft team basically. And this is like our normal MySQL, which Azure has added into their bucket or their marketplace basically. So that will act as our normal database. It is fully managed my community MySQL database. Again, used for e-commerce applications, used for mobile apps, web apps. So that is the things we are going to do. When I'm going to use Azure App Service, we are going to deploy a web app, mobile app, or REST APIs over there. Hmm? So it has really high performance. Of course, the high performance will be with this as well, even though it is not mentioned. Okay, so high performance secure finance app. Okay, so this one is, yeah, it is used for finance management app. Hmm? So again, similar one. So you choose anything. How you manage is very important. Okay. So then we have Azure database for MariaDB. Again, I'm not sure whether it is SQL or no SQL. I'm not sure. Let me just quickly check. Service, web app. So almost best for is like they have written for everybody. Hmm? Redis is no SQL, I guess. I'm not sure about the migration pattern. So these are the details that how to do that, everything that they have mentioned. But we have database MariaDB का देख रहे तुम लोग. Just wait a second. I'm not sure because I have not used it yet. Azure MariaDB. You search for that, and then you will get the details. Hmm? What is Azure MariaDB? Relational database. Okay. So it is also a SQL kind of database, MariaDB. Then we have Azure Cache for Redis. So now, so this is not a database. It is a store, kind of a database basically, but it stores the cache. Basically, when you use browser or cache is temporary storage basically. So here the data will not be stored for a very long time. In memory data, it is used for store the data in memory. As soon as system restarts, the data will be gone away. So it is for real time data access. Like I don't want to go to the database or actual backend of the Azure. I just want to take the data. Once it is load, I'll store it in MariaDB, sorry, Redis, and then from there we will be taking it up. So that kind of support that Redis is providing. Will not go into that as well. So my primary focus from database section will be on normal SQL, which is Azure Database for Postgres and MySQL, both basically. Okay, okay, sorry. This one is MySQL database, and this was they have created is supporting SQL. So SQL and MySQL are two different one. Okay. So MySQL is the open source database. Then we have the common database and application migration pattern. If you want to migrate your existing application, if I'm having my database set up in my laptop, I wanted to put it on cloud. How to do that? So there here are the steps. कैसे करना है, क्या करना है, वगैरह वगैरह, वर्चुअल मशीन पे कैसे करना है, and how to do it with SQL managed instance. Of course, it can be used for any other applications. Then same goes for Oracle or Azure. VM, how we can push that database onto VM, separate steps, how we can create a standalone service or database as a service, platform as service, and then how I can use this is for Oracle. Then same goes for MongoDB. Of course, it supports NoSQL databases as well, and MongoDB is one of the popular, right, in NoSQL domain. So MongoDB is really popular, and that is when they have their support on Azure. So if I go onto the portal, you can see that I can create a MongoDB database, which I'll not be creating or I'll not be demonstrating actually. So I'm again going on my home page, basically just to check. This is my dashboard. It is showing SQL databases यहाँ पे दिखा रहा है, but बाकी कुछ नहीं है. ठीक है. I'm just going to see the cost. Of course, every day morning before starting the session, I go and check how much it is costing. Right, so that is when I downloaded the Android application as well. I would recommend you to download as well. 300 तक कुछ तो आया यहाँ पे. So ये prediction है ऊपर वाला, forecast 501 तक जाएगा. That is fine. So SQL databases manage relational databases. So I'm just quickly opening it up so that we can work on this. Okay, तो ये learn के लिए दिया है उन्होंने. ठीक है, we'll go through that. Quick start भी है. I'm more interested into Postgres, तो यहाँ पे नहीं है, तो I can change it from here. Azure Data SQL सब SQL का ही दिया है क्या यार ये लोग. ठीक है. How can I change it? How can I change it? ठीक है. I'll search and then I'll modify. I'm more interested into Postgres because that is what we teach at our training programs on both the Java and Python people. All right. किधर थे हम लोग? हाँ, we were at this particular documentation again. We have Postgres, MongoDB, Atlas on Azure. So Azure Cosmos. Okay, so this is Cosmos DB is again. So now I guess so from the about two. So Azure manages two databases. So Cosmos DB was NoSQL database, and Azure SQL database was SQL. So these are built-in Azure databases that they have built for providing some features. Okay, अपन वापस जा रहे हैं. So what else that they are having? Migrate from SQL Server to Azure virtual machines. Migrate from SQL Server to Azure fully managed instance. So ऐसे you can do from MongoDB if you want to, like local MongoDB if you want to come to Azure वाला MongoDB, that can be done. From local MongoDB if you want to go to Azure Cosmos DB, that can also be done. So I'm more interested into this. Yeah. So Postgres, I'm more interested into pushing my database, which is in my Postgres local machine. Of course, I'm not going to push it actually. I'm going to create a new one itself. So Azure database for Postgres, that is the fully managed service. So fully managed, so it open source database support for Postgres, and it has AI powered performance optimization. That is the one which we'll see as a demonstration. And then we'll also cover some part on MySQL. Actually, we'll do this first and then we'll do that, either of them. So I'll show you the two applications on app service, two databases, different things. Okay, MySQL, when we want to migrate the on-premise database to Azure database, Azure MySQL can be done. Yeah, MariaDB, same goes for Cassandra and multiple, right? Cassandra उसका खुद का कर सकते हैं या फिर Cosmos पे डाल सकते हैं. ठीक है, what I'll do, I'll quickly list out the features or the databases names according to the category, so that you guys will be able to refer it to their notes. Okay, copy करने को allowed नहीं किया, wow. ठीक है, with modern web applications, हाँ अभी हो गया, पहले allowed नहीं कर रहा था. ठीक है, I'm just quickly having it in our notes so that you guys can go and refer to it later, or you'll have with me built-in modern application database. इसको छोटा करना है, ठीक है, रहने दो. Yes, here I just need to remove this particular line. Yeah. Okay, so I'll list out the databases that are available over there, and then we will move it, take it forward. Okay. Just give me a second. दूसरा नहीं बना. Enter again. So these are two databases that they are managing, and then they have their own backend, and they built if there is any error, only Azure people will help you to solve those things. Just a I'm interested into the links of these two, so hence I'm just copying it along with the links, so that after clicking on the link you guys can go and visit, even it is for my reference as well. So it's not, sometimes I don't get the links, like I didn't get it earlier, right? So I was looking for Postgres and I got only a skill. So when I want to go to Postgres, I need to search it again. So instead of that, I could easily keep the details. Okay, fine. So I'll list out only two because I'm not interested, or basically we don't use the other databases much. Like I don't use MariaDB, I don't use Redis, or that is not the current. Like when you are beginning, right? So we are also into this Azure Wala domain from last 1 year, basically, not more than that. So we have not yet explored the rest of the databases because that was not the need till now, or we have not developed the applications or the softwares which requires this cache or which requires NoSQL databases. We have not done. So we did it with Postgres and we did it with MySQL. Sometimes I use MongoDB as well for a couple of applications, but not that much. Okay, and covering MongoDB would be more, understanding, or you will need more time to understand that particular thing. So we'll be restricting our scope to MySQL and PostgreSQL. Okay, so both the databases, both are really widely used in industry. So if you have good understanding of both, it will be really great for you. All right, so let's move forward with Azure SQL documentation first. And before that, actually on day one, somewhere on the page, like free Azure services, uh, Azure free tier services, they have mentioned like SQL is free. You can use for 12 months. So they have mentioned, or you can use it for life. Azure SQL database. So that is what, this is always free. You can go and do it anywhere. So this is also app service we covered, always free. Cosmos DB we are not going to cover. We are going to cover functions later next week. Azure blob storage we have covered yesterday. We have put some data over there on the blobs day before yesterday. Basically, we have covered the virtual machines in Windows, not in Linux. And today we are trying to cover the databases. Basically we are going to talk about only SQL database, not Cosmos DB. ठीक है, take the advantage free product और नहीं चाहिए रुको. So I'm just going in this link so that I can, अरे ये इधर ही open कर रहा है, ठीक है, I know from where I need to go. ठीक है, I understood like Azure SQL database is free. Just try to understand, that is when I listed Azure SQL database, which is built in from Azure, which is free. But if I'm going to use it for MySQL, which is our native SQL database, which is open source, of course, but when you are using in cloud, it will cost you some amount. So you need to choose wisely. So today we will talk about Postgres because open source में यही best है best. So we'll go and copy the link and I'm going to open in this particular page instead. So we'll talk about Postgres. So they have products में Postgres है. Let's talk about that. Azure databases for Postgres खत्म. So create पे अभी नहीं करना है. Innovate with fully managed automated whatever. ठीक है. So let's try to understand. So a very interesting thing over here, they have flexible server खत्म. Flexible like can be upscale, can increase, we can increase size, we can add the instances, and we can do a lot of things into this. This is the beauty of it. I guess only Azure providing it as of now, or as far as I know. Basically my knowledge can be limited. Of course there are a lot of people doing a lot of innovations with their products. AWS might be coming up with this. ठीक है, I'm not sure actually, I never tried AWS का, तो मुझे नहीं पता. But it is a really good feature that I personally like. So flexible server gives you the flexibility to put the data as and when required. Okay, so this Azure Postgres is highly available, fully managed, and intelligent performance. Like in previous page itself, we read somewhere AI managed performance or something like this. AI powered performance optimization is something they have written. ठीक है, तो कन्वर्ट करना है यार मेरे को. आई वांटेड टू मूव इट टू द अजूर पोस्टग्रेस. सो अजूर डेटाबेसेस फॉर पोस्टग्रेस, आई गेस it will take me to the same page. Yes, it has taken me to the same page. I don't know what to go there. So here I am. Yep, so on the same page I was talking about the details. Now what you can do, like migrate to an open source PostgreSQL database. I can use a Azure data extension. I can also use Visual Code में extension डाल के, and it has very good support for Python, Ruby, Node, and Java. Of course, I don't know Ruby, so we will be sticking our scope to Python and Java both. And with the Postgres database, we are going to go into that. Now, what exactly it is having? Fully managed Postgres service, support for all the latest version. So you go to their official documentation of Postgres and check like either typing of PostgreSQL. This is their official documentation. Like SQL का आपने देखा होगा. I'm just showing you for the Postgres database. September 23 को Postgres 16 release हुआ है. So basically that is a new Postgres latest releases that it is showing. ठीक है, 16 is released. So 16 is the latest version. So I should be able to find the latest support for latest version on Azure as well. They must be having it. They do it on a really quick start. हम देखेंगे थोड़ी देर बाद. Optimize value and lower cost of ownership. I don't want to get into that. So this is more important. So accelerate the innovation to develop and deploy apps faster. So now what happens is like when I have Azure wala database, I need to do less configuration in order to make my app up. I'll show you. Like I told you, there are two ways. I can write the connection string, username and password of the database in my code. Secondly, I can configure it in my app service itself directly. How? We'll talk about that going forward. ठीक है, app service किधर है अपना? ये app services है. So नए पेज पे क्यों बोला? Sorry, documentation नहीं चाहिए था. एक सेकंड ना, मेरे को app service चाहिए था actually. So I deleted one which we created. I have only one which, of course, it is costing some amount, 1 rupees or so. So I removed it. Kaiko. So we have whole 1 month and we have to cover a lot of aspects. Okay. So here in the configuration, I can so I have not shown you this section yesterday while deploying the app service. We have seen these events, I guess, deployment slot, deployment center bhi dekha tha, uploading the file. So here in the configuration section, I can easily add the configurations. Connection string of a database can be added over here. And if you want to add the new application setting, application related configuration, I can easily add. Like suppose username, so name will be username, here will be value, name will be the password, value will be, I'll be putting it there. This sort of configuration will do, and will create an app which supports database configuration. For my Azure Spring one, so it doesn't support the database configuration. So next project I'm going to do, or next app I'm going to create will be Azure Spring DB. Hmm? So that is what we'll do once I cover the database wala section. Okay, I can create connection string. Along with this, I can, if I have there are more so if, so this is Java 17 was supporting. If you want to change the Java version, suppose your app by default, because of I was doing it, you uh, unknowingly created along with me, and then your app was supporting Java 11 or Java 20 or so, I'm not sure. So आगे वाला support नहीं है, back वाला support है. So you can change the version from here, change and save the settings, khatam. I don't want to do so, so I'm not going to do it right now. Then if you want to change the web server, you can modify the edit wala setting is there basically in the configuration. You can change the app service according to your wish. Okay, authentication is on, file transfer I shown you yesterday itself. This is how we are going to do. And there are a few more settings like debugging chahiye, client mode certificate chahiye. So if incoming certificates, the SSL, or this is for security only, certificate exclusion we have, then there are more settings. Path mapping is there. If for this app service I'm using any storage, or this is my web application, correct? So web application will always store some data, but Azure app service is only for running the code, not for storing the data. So where it will store the data, for that we can add additional storage space, additional blob, or क्या था, और storage में क्या था, और I forgot. ठीक है, just a second. What other options were there? Blobs था, and फाइल, हाँ, फाइल स्टोरेज आई कैन यूज. QN टेबल वगैरह नहीं करते कनेक्ट, बट बेसिकली ब्लॉब एंड फाइल्स कैन बी easily connected to the app service, can be connected as per our needs. I can न्यू Azure स्टोरेज, तो इसको देखना पड़ेगा कि क्या चाहिए आपको, स्टोरेज अकाउंट कौन सा चाहिए. And then I have two storage account, and out of this आपको blob चाहिए, Azure file चाहिए. There are only two options basically. That is what I was talking about. So you cannot connect the QN table, which is what storage options available. But for connecting to the app service, we have only two. Then you choose कि कौन से container में connect करना है. These are options. Okay, storage container है नहीं currently. That is when it is not showing. Okay, I have not created, or the one which I created, I deleted them. And then path I can push, and then can be easily integrated with my existing app service. Okay, going back again into the app service, which is where I was talking about configuration. And to this, after that, there is one last point. So this basically all the configuration I can do it from here. That is what I was trying to demonstrate you. Error pages, if there it is, if it is failing for any particular case, so I can show the error case. Like if the error code is 402, we can have a custom HTML page to showcase like not found error वगैरह. Okay, I'm not sure what it will show you right now if my application fails. Connection string I can create over here, like name, value, and type of database. So Postgres है या फिर क्या है, so that I can put it over here. So depending on the database. Okay, so this particular settings will do in when I'll create app service along with database. So here I shown you yesterday itself. Yesterday we create app, web app only. Tomorrow or next week we are going to do web app plus database. So that is how we will be able to proceed. But first you need to understand database, guys, right? So that is what we are focusing on today's session. ठीक है, किधर थे अपन? Postgres पे थे. We can easily deploy, we can start for free 200. ये तो उन्होंने कर दिया already. Customers, you are using Azure database का Postgres, same ही customer का नाम डाला है वापस. That was there on the first page. खत्म. I don't want to get into this much, so we are going to go toward their, किधर है उनका ट्रायल वाला स्टार्टिंग वाला पेज. Just a second, just a second. Yep, sorry, somebody was calling me. Yeah, so more interested into Postgres, so hence this won't work as of now. So I'm gonna go to the documentation. किधर मिलेगा databases, and databases में Azure का किधर है? हाँ, वो ओपन किया था ना हमने कहीं पे. This is only right. नहीं, not this one. एक सेकंड रुको. Azure databases for Postgres. This one, flexible server, correct. So I guess we are on the same page and we are looking somewhere else. Okay, so I'm going to create a flexible server. That is what I wanted to do. There will be getting started wala guide as well, which will help us to move forward. Okay, flexible server I'm going to create. create an Azure database for Postgres flexible server in Azure portal, right? So steps वगैरह उन्होंने दिए. So go to the databases section. Basically we have categories, okay, and in with that there are multiple databases. I'll quickly show you. This is the portal, and then plus key plus पे click किया. This is the first time I'm doing actually. So if I go and I can see the categories over here on the left hand side. Till now, till yesterday, what we are doing, we are searching here directly. क्या आपको चाहिए? Because I was knowing the names, or basically the names was very straightforward. Hmm? On the day one itself, we listed क्या क्या हम पढ़ेंगे, right? So from that we took the names. किधर है day one? हाँ. So on the day one itself, we listed out all the core services, and in all those core services, we have decided कि अरे इसमें ये हम लोग पढ़ेंगे. That was the whole target. And we were focusing on according to that, like core services are the three and other are combination. तो उसमें से हमने ऐप सर्विस देख लिया, वेब ऐप देख लिया, Azure स्टोरेज देख लिया, डेटा स्टोरेज में now there are these many. So this is what we are talking about right now. Then microservice will start sometimes later. Networking is ongoing, like in between chalta rahega, and that's it. Yeah, CLI we have already seen. So we are coming towards this particular section of the session where we are talking about the data services. Database services बोलना चाहिए था इसको. Data service का को बोला क्या पता. ठीक है. So database services we are referring to. Now here there are multiple, right? I'm not sure which one to choose. So I'm not searching directly. If I put database, nothing comes over here. ठीक है. So that is when I'm clicking on this plus icon. Earlier it was like showing we are having all the favorites which we have used recently or so. So they can be shown over here. In your case, this option will be fixed. In my case, I change the settings, hence I'm able to see it on the next page, or I'm able to hide this page. Fine, I clicked on plus. I have a resource all option, and here I have all multiple options. Like if you want to do AI machine learning, I can. Like there are multiple options over there. I have not shown you till yet for other applications. Like you can use chatbot, you can use AI services. क्या कर सकते हैं मुझे भी नहीं पता. I personally have not tried these things. You want to do analytics. Analytics के लिए data cloud data factory है, and then data lakes है यहाँ पे. So which I know I used sometimes. Then there is something called as pipeline as well, data pipeline. ठीक है, यहाँ पे नहीं दिखता है. ठीक है. For blockchain they have different services. For compute is like virtual machines only. Yeah, VMs you can create and then that can be used. ठीक है. Azure Spring App is also comes in the compute वाला thread. Containers में there will be Kubernetes related services which is going to block. So our task is to go to the database basically. Popular marketplace providers. Second line is different now. I want to talk about only Azure services. SQL database is something. Azure SQL. See, SQL database is like open source. Azure SQL की Azure ने खुद ने बनाया. Azure का Cosmos DB नहीं चाहिए. Azure database for Postgres. This is what I'm more interested into. देखते हैं अभी इसमें क्या करना है. ठीक है. हाँ. So now what I was referring to in notes or all the times like Azure database for Azure database for Postgres flexible server. Now flexible server and for Postgres is different one. So it quick flexible server helps you to create and use quickly. So for Azure database for Postgres we need to do few more settings. ठीक है. फर्क इतना ही, इसका लोगो अलग है, उसका लोगो अलग है. Nothing more complicated than that. ठीक है. So I'm just quickly going to this flexible server again. So here I hope I get some idea like the prerequisites required or something like this. So it has directly started. Create पे click किया basically. So now it has some server names. हाँ डालेंगे यार, रुको यार रुको, करेंगे. So again similar thing goes from day 1 to day 5 6 I guess today. Any of the service you create, you have to come to this particular tab like basic detail डालो, फिर networking के detail डालो, फिर security की detail डालो, tag डालो, and then you create. ठीक है. So let's do it man. This is day in and day out. यही करना है आपको wherever you create a service. Now I'll try to access this database along with my IP address. I'll try to see if I'm able to access the database in my PG admin. I'll set up the connection string. If I could do that now before creating actually, so wait a minute. So अपन इधर directly नहीं जा सकते. So I need to show you the pricing. Basically, when you are creating, I need to choose some servers, right? So pricing for Azure database for Postgres and Azure flexible server. So why I'm choosing flexible server? Of course, it has less cost. So basically everything and anything that helps him to save the cost, I'm going to use that. Hmm? I have both earlier, so this documentation seems to be previous one, so they don't have the flexible server. They recently launched it basically. Hmm? तो अच्छा है इधर है. Do you want to use the service flexible server or single server? I don't want single server. See, there is a difference between both. Base for existing application already leveraging single server. So this is for single server, what normal does. Flexible server is the base for production workload that requires zone resiliency and HA. High performance, predictable performance, maximum control. So this is better. I guess cost का मैंने कुछ उल्टा बोल दिया. देखते. Let's see the cost of flexible server and Azure single server. So both the things we'll quickly check. Azure pricing for Postgres flexible server. Before creating any of the service into the cloud, I would always recommend kindly go and check the pricing. Then only decide which one to choose. Hmm? So Harbar, every service that I created till now, whether it is virtual machine, whether it is storage space, whether it is app service or this database as well, I have always shown you the pricing and then we created the details because as a new beginner, you need to know. नहीं तो it will like tomorrow you will understand. I have that is where I set my dashboard with the pricing model, right? सेंट्रल इंडिया में कर रहा हूँ, प्राइसिंग बाय मंथ कर रहा हूँ, करेंसी इज इंडियन रुपीज. सो लेट्स सी. हाँ, सिंगल सर्वर एंड फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर दोनों के लिए प्राइसिंग एक ही पेज पे मिल गया, थैंक गॉड. ठीक है, लेट्स सी. तो बेसिकली इफ आई यूजिंग वन कोर 2 GB वाला मेमोरी, वन सीपीयू 2 GB वाला मेमोरी, 2,900 रुपीज पर मंथ. दैट इज फॉर स्टोरेज. अगर चाहिए तो अलग से, स्टोरेज नहीं चाहिए करेंटली 9 रुपीज पर मंथ. एंड बैकअप हो गए तो अभी नहीं, अभी पहले तो बनाने तो दो. तो लेट मी जस्ट क्रिएट. ठीक है. सो जेन 5 वाला सर्विस ये लोग यूज करेंगे तो उसके लिए वो 2,900 रुपीज पर मंथ चार्ज करेंगे. ठीक है. दिस इज फॉर पोस्टग्रेस सिंगल सर्वर. आई एम गोइंग टू पोस्टग्रेस फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर. सो इंडियन रुपीज, सेंट्रल इंडिया वाला रीजन है, रीजन चेंज करेंगे तो प्राइस चेंज होगा. So now here is they are having costing in a very different way. Single server mean like if they will provide you dedicated system, they will provide you dedicated RAM, CPU, and storage space. So that is when the cost is more. Now here, when you go with a flexible compute requirement, like flexible is like as and when the requirement will increase, it will automatically serve the data in that way. When there is nobody hitting your database, the price will automatically come down. So that is when using flexible server is recommended. But personally I am recommending it now. Read on couple of internet blogs, basically watched on multiple tutorials, and that is when I'm suggesting. And now not compulsory, you can go and choose your own. So B1 basic one, basic premium वगैरह वगैरह अपने हमने देखा ही था already. So basic MS का MS stands, this S stands for small actually. MS मतलब उससे छोटा. ठीक है. B1 B2 B3 B4 like these are the versions of the instances, like they are having their processing power different as well. One core 2 GB 1,400 rupees. Same configuration. I guess the other was the single server was giving 1 core and 2 GB, but providing having the cost of 3,000 rupees. So which is half of the previous one. Okay, so that is just a second. Somebody has turned the camera on. कौन है यार वो? कैसे करेंगे ऑफ अभी इसका? ठीक है, let it be. Don't get distracted with the camera. Name is मोहम्मद. क्या है बेटा आपका? कैमरा ऑन है. हाँ, your camera is on. You are traveling somewhere. ठीक है, रहने दो. Focus on the screen, guys. Yeah. So yeah, so this is something I'm going to choose basically. That is when I'm created flexible server. Cost कम है, मेरा काम उतना ही हो रहा है. So basically that is what preferable. ठीक है. One, make sure that you are going to choose 1 core and 2 GB. Otherwise within, see, it is per month, right? So if I go and do per hour, so then you will be like per hour you are going to charge 2 rupees. So if you keep your database on, every hour your 2 rupees are going to deducted from your account. The limit you know, right, already. So you have a limit of 1,500 rupees, out of which itna bacha hai mera. Okay. So now every day it was like 800 when we started the training. Every day some amount is getting deducted because I'm using some services. क्या क्या चालू है? my two data storage is running, app services are running, some network related activities are running, so everything is costing me some amount. Okay, not more, but it is charging me on every day. Okay, this is free account wala thing, that is when I don't need to worry about it a lot, but you also need to go and choose. Okay, so make sure you choose this one while creating the servers. Okay, chalo, I'm going to flexible server only, I'm not going to go over here. Even if I go, I guess they have given the options. Let me just quickly see if they have. Yes, yeah, so it is recommended one. देखो flexible server उन्होंने खुद recommend किया, वो बोल रहे कि बाबा यही यूज करो, it is better for you. हाँ, सिंगल सर्वर भी कर सकते हैं, आर्केस्ट्रेशन के साथ भी कर सकते हैं, मुझे नहीं चाहिए अभी, मेरे को फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर ही चाहिए. ठीक है, चूज अ डिप्लॉयमेंट ऑप्शन टू क्रिएट प्रोसेस सर्वर. यस, आई वांट टू हैव कॉस्मोस डीबी नहीं चाहिए करंटली, आई वांट टू गो विद flexible server. Q, अभी देखो why the reason. Best for workload that require more control, zone reliance and predictable performance. Best for existing application already leveraging single server. Private link support cross region. Here latest major releases updates भी मिलेंगे यहाँ पे. Zone resilience है. कस्टम 1 आवर मेंटेनेंस विंडो, अगर करना है कुछ मॉडिफिकेशन कर सकते हैं. बेस्ट कॉस्ट ऑप्टिमाइजेशन, दिस इज व्हाट आई एम मोर इंटरेस्टेड इनटू, और एनी कंपनी विल बी मोर इंटरेस्टेड इनटू. आई विल बी चूजिंग दिस फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर. वो इसलिए उन्होंने डायरेक्टली ऑप्शन वहाँ पे दिया है अभी. प्रीवियसली इट वाज नॉट देयर, ओनली दिस वाज देयर, एंड देन यहाँ पे आपको चूज करना पड़ता है. आई चोज फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर, क्रिएटिंग द सर्वर. अगेन द सेम पेज विल पॉप अप, है ना, बेसिक नेटवर्किंग ये वाला. यू गाइज मस्ट बी फेमिलियर टू इट नाउ. So very interestingly, ठीक है. So in order to use this, I don't know इतना क्यों दिखा रहा है. ठीक है, we'll see. Estimated cost दिखा रहा है ये, compute उसका, storage इसका, और 21,500 per month. क्यों? I'm not sure. Let just, as this is estimated cost. अगर आपने D4 यूज किया तो which I'm not gonna do. D मतलब प्रीमियम वाला कुछ तो है, which I'm gonna use like D1 बेसिक वाला वन. स्टोरेज का भी उन्होंने क्या यूज किया है, 128 GB पर 120 वाला सिलेक्ट किया है, तो वो हम नहीं चाहिए. आई डो नॉट वांट, आई वांट 4 GB और 8 GB मैक्स, नथिंग मोर देन दैट. और बैंडविड्थ का क्या सीन है, बैंडविड्थ इज फ्री. ठीक है, तो उसके लिए कुछ दिक्कत नहीं. ठीक है, सो आई सी दिस इज बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट आई चूज. ये 20,000 रुपीज क्यों आ रहा है, बिकॉज आई एम चूजिंग द स्टोरेज एट D4, आई गेस प्री बिल्ट इन सेटिंग है, तो वो हम लोग नहीं करेंगे. फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर फ्री फॉर अप टू 750 आवर्स यूजिंग अजोर, मतलब ये हमें अभी पता चला, मुझे भी नहीं पता था. ठीक है, अजूर का पोस्टग्रेस फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर इज फ्री फॉर अप टू 750 आवर्स, तो इसका देखना ही नहीं है, टेंशन मतलब. बट मेक श्योर व्हाइल सिलेक्टिंग यू आर चूजिंग करेक्ट वन. ठीक है, अभी देखो यहाँ पे रिसोर्स ग्रुप्स है. आरजीज किधर है, सॉरी किधर गया, हाँ इधर. तो आरजीज है मेरे पास बहुत सारे. तो ये ऑटो अलर्ट्स के लिए एक आरजी है, क्लाउड शेल शुरू में किया था उसके लिए एक आरजी था, डिफॉल्ट रिसोर्स ग्रुप है, नेटवर्क वॉचर, वेब आरजी. तो वेब ऐप का उसी वेब ऐप में करेंगे, तो वेब ऐप आरजी में ही मैं रख रहा हूँ, because this database is later going to connect to the existing machine. ठीक है, सर्वर का नेम पोस्टग्रेस एक लोअर केस चाहिए ना, डाल दिया ना, मस्ट कंटेन लोअर केस. ओके, ओनली लोअर केस. ठीक है, पोस्टग्रेस मस्ट बी अवेलेबल. पोस्टग्रेस क्या डालेंगे यार उसको, स्प्रिंग. पोस्टग्रेस अजूर डालते है क्या, ऐसा कुछ नहीं छोगा ऑफकोर्स. वन है क्या, अजूर वन. हाँ हाँ, वन रह रहा है अभी. पीपल हैव स्टार्टेड अजूर वाला यूजिंग, कोई वन नहीं यूज कर रहा है वैसे, इसीलिए हमें वन पे मिल जा रहा है. ठीक है, सो दिस इज यूनिक नेम अगेन एज आई मेंशन. सो विद दिस पर्टिकुलर नेम दे आर गोइंग टू क्रिएट अ यूआरएल फॉर अस. ठीक है, तो देखते हैं उसका क्या है. देन आई एम चूजिंग ईस्ट यूएस, दैट इज द सेम आई चोज फॉर माय, आई कैन चूज मल्टीपल फ्रॉम मल्टीपल रीजन्स, इंडिया, अमेरिका, whatever. ठीक है, postgres version 15. Now they don't have support for 16 basically, so this is a challenge. If my application, of course nobody goes on latest version, I shown you their official website. वो 16 लास्ट मंथ में उन्होंने रिलीज किया था. So in order to come the 16 on database, 16 version of this database into the production, sorry, into the Azure will take some time. ठीक है, वर्कलोड टाइप प्रोडक्शन स्मॉल मीडियम वाला वर्कलोड है हमारे पास, लार्ज साइज वाला वर्क प्लेस नहीं है. बट मैं अगर डिप्लॉयमेंट वाला चूज कर सकता हूँ, इफ आई एम डेवलपिंग इट. ठीक है, सो अकॉर्डिंग टू माई विश इट विल चेंज. देखो अभी प्रोडक्शन यूज के इसलिए ये D4 दिखा रहा है. आई एम गोना यूज डेवलपमेंट, तो बेसिकली इट इज गोना चेंज B1 ये. So see the price has changed basically. So when I'm going to choose production, the cost it was showing 21,000, and when I'm choosing to the development, the cost has reduced to 1,200. right? So I guess 90% discount. So basically I'm going to use the development wala because I don't want to get into that trouble. है ना, देखो यहाँ पे कंप्यूटर वाला चेंज हो गया, V1MS, the one which I shown you in the pricing वाला tab, that is when I always recommend it, guys. hmm? So cloud is very easy, very simple, drag and drop, just click, 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 no code required. But it is very costly if you don't know it properly. That is why I'm conducting the training, just to make you guys aware, like how to use which service and how you can build your own applications and deploy, or you help your company where you're working or you are planning to work, so that company will get benefited with your skills that you are learning over here in this particular training. So that is when you need to, whenever using any service, go, and it is good habit to go with this particular thing, because later if you choose something which is heavy and it will cost to your company, next day company will say tata bye bye to you, like you are not the right resource to work on the cloud. Or they will take your job, give your job to somebody else. Hmm? So now 32 GB storage, I guess it is okay for me. 1 GB, one core, 2 GB RAM, 32 GB storage, that is absolutely fine. Hmm? I don't want to have anything better than this. If I want to, I can go and change the config. Here is option to configure the server, so which I can go and change. I'm just showing, like ये नहीं चाहिए, दूसरा चाहिए क्या बेटा आपको, फिर उसके हिसाब से कौन चेंज होगा, साइज ये नहीं चाहिए, दूसरा चाहिए क्या, करो, फिर compute size 1 GB, 2 GB, whatever you wanted to, you choose, and then the price will increase. So this is a default compute and storage that they have giving you. अभी मेरे को नहीं चाहिए तो मैं पीछे जा रहा हूँ वापस. So and I'm gonna, no, cancel नहीं कर सकते. ये देखो, when don't go and click on the back button, it will resume all your things. Just click on this and close it. Then it will go to the previous वाला page. एक pop-up खुलता है जब भी आप you create. So this itself is a pop-up. If I close it, it will go back to your previous वाला page. ठीक है. So I'm gonna keep the standard list composition of my RAM, CPU and storage space. अवेलेबल जोन नहीं दिया उन्होंने, फ्री वाले में क्या ही अवेलेबल जोन चाहिए तुमको. ठीक है. ये वाला स्टेट मल्टीपल जोन नहीं ये करता. हाई अवेलेबिलिटी डेवलपमेंट वाला है, नहीं चाहिए. अगर लो हाई अवेलेबिलिटी, लाइक ऑलवेज अप. If my system goes down for some reason, I am fine with it. Authentication mechanism, Postgres authentication only. I can also use Postgres intra on the day 1, day 2, I guess. When I taught you intra, Microsoft intra, like Azure Active Directory, तो उसके यूजर से हम लोग यहाँ पे ऑथेंटिकेशन कर सकते हैं. बट आई डोंट रिकमेंड यू every software like using my Microsoft login and password in my database won't be a good idea according to me. So I'll be use authentication only. तो बोल रहे यार ठीक है यार, आप ऑथेंटिकेट कर रहे हो तो आप यूजर नेम पासवर्ड डाल दो. ठीक है. So I'm going to use user name and password. Generally I keep the username as Postgres, so that I'll remember it. Username will work. क्या बोल रहे हैं, हाँ जरा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड डालने को बोल रहे हैं. एक सेकंड, ओके, मैं ज़रा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड डालता हूँ. हो गया ना, हाँ. सो इट वाज ट्राइंग टू मैच द पॉलिसी, एक कैरेक्टर, एक नंबर वगैरह वगैरह. ठीक है. आई एम डन विथ माय कॉन्फ़िगरेशन ऑफ फर्स्ट पेज which is basics. I just modified it. I'm going to next page. Security में क्या चाहिए, public access of course. See अभी I can do the private access as well, but public access क्यों चाहिए? I want to access this database with my system. तो ये पब्लिक एक्सेस अलाउ कर रहे हैं. फायरबस रूल्स, व्हाट आई कैन डू इज लाइक कि ऐड करंट आईपी एड्रेस, जो मेरे लैपटॉप का अभी आईपी एड्रेस है उसी आईपी एड्रेस से एक्सेस करो, बाकी के आईपी एड्रेस से एक्सेस मत करो. ऐसे मैं कर सकता हूँ. बट आई एम अलाउ पब्लिक एक्सेस फ्रॉम एनी. ठीक है, बिकॉज बाद में मेरे को नहीं पता कि मेरा जो ऐप है वो क्लाउड पे कहाँ पे जाके डिप्लॉय होगा, तो मैं कुछ भी नहीं कर रहा हूँ. करेंटली कीपिंग इट एम्प्टी. सर्वर नेटवर्क कनेक्शन, हाँ आगे है ना. करेंगे ना. एनक्रिप्शन पे जाना नहीं है मुझे अभी करेंटली. सो अलाउ पब्लिक एक्सेस, इनबाउंड करेक्शन फॉर शो द बिलो बोर्ड. हाँ ये भी अलाउड करना होगा मुझे, बिकॉज माई अदर सर्विस इज गोइंग टू कनेक्ट टू दिस. अदर सर्विस मीन्स ऐप सर्विस इज अदर सर्विस which is going to connect to my Azure का database. So I'm going to allowing it so that my other services will be able to access my database. तो ये चाहिए मुझे एक्चुअली. सिक्योरिटी में सर्विस मैनेज की, कस्टमर मैनेज की नहीं है, खुद का की बनाएंगे. कस्टमर सॉरी पोस्टग्रेस, उसी की को मैं यूज करूंगा. टैग्स नहीं दे रहा हूँ मैं बहुत टाइम से. ये इट इज जस्ट फॉर योर नेमिंग कन्वर्शन की कौन से टाइप का, इफ आई हैव मल्टीपल डेटाबेस विच डेटाबेस इज ऑफ व्हाट टाइप और व्हाट पर्पस, तो उसके लिए टैग मेंटेन किया जाता है, लाइक गिविंग द नेम टू दिस डेटाबेस दैट आई. हाँ तो ये रिव्यू एंड क्रिएट में ओवरव्यू में हम लोग देख पा रहे हैं यहाँ पे. So this is my database, subscription है, जो भी है, so basic detail whatever I filled earlier that are there. So I'm clicking on create database. So here I go, initializing deployment, same process. See, all the services will provide the same process. Now what is happening in the background, it is creating a virtual machine for you, which you cannot open basically. And then in that virtual machine, it is trying to install the Postgres server, number one. Number two, once the installation is done, it is providing the network access, like allowing it to the public and everything. And then that is how it is processing. So ये deployment send हुआ वहाँ पे, deployment progress हो चुका है अभी. So let's check कि क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे. एक्सेप्टेड हुआ अभी, ओके चाहिए था. माय डेटा पोस्टग्रेस फॉर फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर, तो ये आएगा, कुछ देर के लिए रुकिए प्लीज. सो इट विल क्रिएट द रिसोर्सेज फॉर यू. आई विल जस्ट क्विकली हिट रिफ्रेश. डिप्लॉयमेंट इन प्रोग्रेस, इट विल टेक एटलीस्ट 2 to 3 मिनट्स. यहाँ पे देखो ट्यूटोरियल उन्होंने देके रखा है. क्रिएट पाइथन पोस्टग्रेस ऐप, रुको करेंगे, कल करेंगे, नेक्स्ट वीक में करेंगे ये भी. So it is in the plan. So they are suggesting. So Postgres goes really good with Python or even Django framework. So people who are from Python background, I guess we have Trupti and other people who are from this same domain, right? Let me just quickly. Supriya as well, I guess. No, Supriya is from Java. Uh, what I want to see the people, right? Yeah. Trupti is from Python. Anybody else? No. So I'm not sure. Uh, uh, the people who are really new to our platform. So I'm not sure what is your background, whether you are from Java, Python, or any other technology or programming language. ठीक है. Yes, so it must have created now. Let me just refresh. Oh, it is taking time today to create. So start time is this. Hold on for a second. Once it is created, we'll quickly see like features of it, and then in next week we'll create or we'll connect our database with our existing application. A very simple stuff. होल्ड ऑन फॉर सेकंड. ऑपरेशंस डेटा डिटेल में देख सकते हैं उसको, नहीं चाहिए बट मेरे को अभी क्या क्या कर रहा है वो दिखा रहा है यहाँ पे. एक्सेप्ट हुआ है पोस्टग्रेस, देखो. सो हियर आई एम जस्ट क्लोजिंग इज रिसोर्स नेम. आई गॉट पोस्टग्रेस पोस्ट 1 ग्रेस एजर. सो दिस इज अ रिसोर्स नेम एंड सो रिसोर्स आईडी भी मेरे को यहाँ पे मिल गया. रिसोर्स आईडी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट व्हेन यू वांट टू फाइंड आउट योर रिसोर्सेस. इफ यू हैव मल्टीपल, अभी तो मेरे पास एक ही है तो कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. Provision state running, operations name this, subscription is this. This is my free tier wala subscription. So basically it is a combination of every detail over here. Okay, so it must have created now. Let me just refresh. It is taking a lot of time. Okay, so meanwhile it is getting created. Like I cannot wait over here. I'll quickly jump towards the next part that I wanted to showcase. So यहाँ पे भी दिख रहा है ये creating हो रहा है. Deployment is in progress बोल रहा है. ठीक है, उन्होंने दिया है पाइथन पोस्टग्रेस को देख लेते बाबा, है ना. So deploy Django, of course, yeah. I mean, it has really nice support. Like Postgres have a really nice support with Django applications, and Django is a framework from Python. Similarly, don't worry. Similarly, we have Spring in Java, and then we are going to connect Postgres. Same activity I'm going to show you because that is what is in demand in the market right now. ठीक है. So yes, of course, prerequisite आपके पास Azure CLI होना चाहिए, तो उसको easy version करके देख लो, फिर उसके बाद login कर लो. I'm already logged in yesterday. फिर अकाउंट सेट सब्सक्रिप्शन करने की जरूरत नहीं, मेरे पास एक ही सब्सक्रिप्शन है तो वही आएगा. दे आर आस्किंग टू क्लोन द प्रोजेक्ट. उस प्रोजेक्ट में जाओ, फिर क्या करो, फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर. ये बोल रहा है क्रिएट अ न्यू फ्लेक्सिबल सर्वर. देखो वी कैन जस्ट स्टेप्स व्हिच वी फॉलोड राइट नाउ. In order to create this server, we go to the UI and we did a lot of things, right? So instead, if you want to do it with the what, if you do it CLI like AZ Postgres flexible server create khatam. You do not need to put lot of things like create resource group जो भी RG में आपको देना था, which I chose web app RG, virtual network का नाम, and then location where you want to create. Then it will ask you the option like क्या क्या चाहिए आपको. So it will automatically go ask for username and password. एक options आएंगे and then it will create the Postgres for you with this single command. Very simple. That is what I was talking about, automation on day one. If you know the scripting language or the scripts for creating the services or the resources in cloud, that would be really great. That is when we install AWS Azure CLI in your system. ठीक है. Deploy code to Azure App Service, very simple stuff. Web app है, web app लगेगा ना हमें, that is what I want. हाँ, अब करेंगे. plan. I'm not sure about this Django this process. They have given in very different way. I used to do it in very different way. ठीक है, I do it with the command prompt in the console itself. ठीक है, so basically with this I can understand there is a process. If we follow, we will be able to run the application. requirement.txt होता है, migrate करके create super user करके हो जाएगा. polling वाला application किया इन्होंने. ठीक है, we'll see it if we are able to if we could. I'll save the क्या बोलते हैं, I'll save the link so that we can deploy. Deploy a Django app with Azure database server. So quickly I'm just we'll do it for Java as well later. So for now, since I got the notes, जो भी है मैंने पढ़ा नहीं था कभी, तो whenever I found something new, keep the copy. इतना बड़ा नहीं चाहिए तो बेटा, हेडिंग नहीं चाहिए मेरे को, सब हेडिंग चाहिए. और उसके लिए जो भी लिंक है I'm just copying it. Deploy Azure app, Django app with Postgres. बोल्ड, डबल क्लिक, बोल्ड. तो ये करना है हमें, तो हम कर लेंगे इसको. अभी नोट्स क्यों आए थे यहाँ पे, बिकॉज हमें, हाँ अभी ये हुआ नहीं तो इसलिए आए थे. ठीक है, नाउ इट्स डन, योर डिप्लॉयमेंट इज कंप्लीट. गो टू द रिसोर्स, चेक कि क्या बनाया है भैया उसमें उन्होंने. So here I am in my Postgres, my very first Postgres database into this, and the configuration is written. Server name is given over here, so I can use this to connect to my database. Username password तो मेरे को पता है. हाँ पता है मेरे को, मुझे लगा मैं भूल गया. ठीक है, so if you want to connect, so here is the connection configuration. If you want to connect with Python database whatever, so you can go and check and do the connection. View connection settings में यहाँ पे जा रहा हूँ, इस particular database की connection settings. शायद ये नए टाइप में खुलेगा, खुला ही नहीं. यहाँ पे क्लिक करने का नहीं. ठीक है यार, ये ठीक है, that is fine. So I have the server name basically. So with this server name, so with this server name I can easily connect to my database. I'm quickly opening a PG admin. So those who are not aware about the Postgres or learning it for the very first time, Postgres is a database, but in order to access the UI, अरे मैंने अनइंस्टॉल कर दिया क्या? ओके सर, नहीं है मेरे पास. ठीक है, so there is a UI, the management server, so in which I'm going to use the server name. I'm going to put username password. देखो login name यहाँ पे दिया है, admin का login name, password मुझे पता है, सिर्फ I copied it, I typed it, तो मुझे पता है. So you can also do the connection with the database. connection string मेरे को मिलेगा. ये क्यों नहीं ओपन हुआ, I'm not sure, कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है. ठीक है, GitHub sample मिल जाएंगे. There are so many things which I can do. कंप्यूटर एंड स्टोरेज हम देख सकते हैं, डेटाबेस से यहाँ पे कनेक्ट का ऑप्शन मिल गया. ओके, ऊपर भी था, सॉरी. सॉरी, आई विल गो बैक टू द ओवरव्यू, एंड हियर वाज ऑप्शन टू कनेक्ट. आई फॉरगॉट, बहुत दिनों बाद आया. ठीक है, हियर इज ऑप्शन टू कनेक्ट. तो आपको किसको कनेक्ट करना है? पोस्टग्रेस यूजर को कनेक्ट करना. सिलेक्ट डेटाबेस टू कनेक्ट पोस्टग्रेस, यस. और फिर ये नीचे जाके अपने को कनेक्ट करके देगा सीरियल मॉनिटर से, बैश से. बेसिकली आई विल बी एबल टू कनेक्ट एंड आई विल बी एबल टू सी कि क्या क्या है इसके साथ. So this is for connection string. There is a process, or you can use username password as well if you want to do so, and that commands you can fire. तो देखो इन्होंने कमांड फायर कर दिया. Azure Postgres, देखो दिस इज माय होस्ट नेम, जो भी यहाँ पे था वही है होस्ट नेम. देखो ये वाला होस्ट नेम. पोर्ट है, दिस इज द डिफॉल्ट पोर्ट. यूजर नेम इज Postgres, DB नेम इज Postgres, यूजर नेम इज Postgres. सेट SSL मोड रिक्वेस्ट सिक्योर कॉपी. पासवर्ड पूछ रहा है, अभी देखो मैं यहाँ पे पासवर्ड डाल रहा हूँ मेरा. So this is connected with command prompt basically. Warning, SQL major version. देखो मैं Postgres में हूँ अभी. यहाँ पे मेरे को करना है show DBs. This is console that they have opened. नहीं दिखाया क्या? Create database test. हाँ, तो अभी show DBs करूँगा तो दिख जाएगा. और list DBs क्या है उसका कमांड? UI से हम लोग काम करते तो नहीं पता चलता. ठीक है, तो इट सेमीकोलन रह गया क्या? नहीं लगता, बेसिकली इट वर्क्स. ठीक है, so basically I'm connected to Postgres actually, but henceforth I need to have the commands of that are used to access the database. So that एक मिनट, Postgres, I forgot the command. SQL वाले नहीं चल रहे exactly. Command to list all DBs. PSQL नहीं, Postgres commands list all databases. How to list all database? PSQL command line tool. Okay, use /l command to command table. /l बोल रहे हो. लिस्ट, लिस्ट का कमांड अलग है. So basically the commands are quite different than /l. It is going to show me the list. हाँ वही मैं आपको दिखाने की कोशिश कर रहा था. So show dbs doesn't work over here. So basically there are database, so name, Azure system. ये postgres वाला मेरा है, बाकी ये उन्होंने मेंटेनेंस और सिस्टम के लिए बनाया है, टेम्पलेट के लिए बनाया. सो दीज आर टू विच आई कैन रेफर टू. देन postgres का pg admin है, फिर उसका ये है, and I can do a lot of things with this. Now if I have to create a new database into this, let me just see the command. postgres उसका CLI इंटरफेस अलग है. create a new database, new db. command चाहिए, command चाहिए. create a new database in command line. ठीक है, क्या करना है? command prompt create database execute. एक सेकंड को, database from command line क्विकली देख लेते हैं. ये भी चल जाता, create database from command line. any of the link would work. So we use once database is created, लाइफ टाइम में कभी नहीं create करते, या फिर we have a UI जहाँ पे create करते हैं, then we forget about it. ठीक है. So I'll quickly show you by creating a new database and then we'll stop the session for the day. ठीक है, क्या करना है यार उसके लिए? sudo postgres नहीं करना है, create test user ये भी नहीं करना है, create db. okay, create db is the command, I forgot. ठीक है, create db and then उसका नाम देना है मेरे को. So the commands are bit different than normal postgres. show db में कर रहा था या फिर create database कर रहा था, वो those are SQL commands. create db space test. अभी हो गया होगा शायद, आई एम नॉट श्योर. देखते. नहीं बना टेस्ट, क्यों नहीं बना रहे? create db test access the postgres shell नहीं हो रहा है. create database test user postgres and not sure क्या है इसका. तो कल basically I'm not going to put a lot of efforts into this. This is very complicated actually. So I'll connect this database. I know the username, sorry, so host name. I know the password, and I know everything. So what I'll do, I'll access it with the help of UI, which is very click and control, that kind of thing. And वहाँ पे हम लोग बहुत ऐसे database बनाएंगे, फिर उसमें data डालेंगे, connect करेंगे, and that is what I'll do. So in your code base, you're going to push this particular connection string. This connection string, I am just closing this now. So if I go to the connect wala step, here also I'll able to see prerequisite बोल रहा है, चेक करो. तो देखो इसका यूजर नेम ये है, होस्ट नेम, यूजर इज दिस, पोर्ट इज दिस, पासवर्ड देखो ये, दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग आई नीड टू कॉपी इन माय अजूर क्लाउड शेल एंड फिर वो कनेक्ट कर देगा. ठीक है. तो दैट इज हाउ कनेक्ट फ्रॉम ब्राउजर, ऐसे कर सकते हैं. फिर कहाँ से करेंगे? हाँ देखो पीजी एडमिन, ये करेंगे अपन कल. कल आई एम गोना यूज द पीजी एडमिन. तो पीजी एडमिन में रजिस्टर सर्वर करेंगे, डालेंगे ये सब कुछ, खत्म. सो आई एम गोना यूज दिस पीजी एडमिन 4 tomorrow, and that is when I'm going to connect to this database, and then we will see it going forward, and we'll also connect to the next things. ठीक है. All right, this is it for the day. See you tomorrow. Not tomorrow, basically tomorrow there won't be any session. We'll be connecting next Monday, and we are trying to deploy the web app along with database. Okay, so I'm going to choose existing database, this one which I have created. After we are done, so again, so my database is created. Basically if I go to the databases section, इधर ये वाला यहाँ पे क्रिएट रिसोर्स नहीं करना था. एक सेकंड को, SQL डेटाबेसेस क्विकली जा रहा हूँ. यहाँ पे पोस्टग्रेस वाला नहीं दिखेगा ना, एक सेकंड रुकिए. पोस्टग्रेस 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 सर्वर्स, सर्वर्स नहीं चाहिए, जो डेटाबेस क्लोज. हाँ, तो यहाँ पे मुझे दिख जाएगा. सो दिस इज माय फर्स्ट डेटाबेस व्हिच इज क्रिएटेड. सो नाउ आई कैनॉट कीप इट अप एंड रनिंग एवरी आवर. क्या बोला था मैंने? every hour you are going to get charged. ठीक है. So I can quickly, once I'm done, so this is recommended for everybody. So once I'm done, kindly go and stop it, remove it, delete it, whatever you wanted to do. But don't keep it on, because next to next week we're going to use this. So always recommended to delete or shut it down. देखो stop करने का है यहाँ पे. तो server up मत रखना. So once you are done, I'm able to see my server over here. I can see क्या क्या है उसमें. अभी कुछ किसी ने किया activity log में वो दिखा देगा कि 4 minutes ago up हुआ है. When multiple things are there, we'll see it into the detail. But once I'm done, I always recommend all of you that kindly, ये आपका काम है. So kindly stop the servers which you are using. You want to stop? Yes. जब मुझे चाहिए, हाँ, मैनुअल स्टार्ट में करूंगा तो हो जाएगा, बट नहीं किया तो ऑटोमेटिकली 7 दिन बाद चालू होगा. तो मैं स्टॉप कर रहा हूँ करंटली, बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट टू गेट चार्ज एवरी आवर 2 रुपीज, है ना. हाँ, I cannot uh, uh, you know spend that or spend ही बोल सकते हैं or waste that 2 rupees because I'm not going to use it. ठीक है, if I spend that 2 rupees, then I want to show you couple more services which we are going to use. The day when I'm going to show it with the connection or day when I'm going to show you the demonstration live, उस टाइम पे मैं उसको वापस स्टार्ट कर दूंगा. ठीक है, but तब तक keep it in a stop mode because as soon as you stop, all the resources tied to this particular service will get released and then Azure will not charge you. ठीक है, take the extra precautions whenever you are using the AWS or sorry Azure related any of the services. Make sure if not required, delete it. If required later, not immediately, stop it so that you will get charged least possible. All right, this is it for today. Thank you so much for joining in. See you tomorrow at not tomorrow. See you on Monday on the same time, 9 o'clock. All right, bye bye. Thank you so much for joining in.